Today I'm going to show you how to make yaki onigiri or grilled rice balls. And I have a little trick to get the surface extra crispy. So stick around. Welcome back to No Recipes. I'm Mark Matsumoto, and I'm here to show you how to elevate your everyday meals. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss out. For me, the perfect yaki onigiri is crispy like a rice cracker on the outside and like a steaming hot bowl of freshly cooked rice on the inside. It's traditionally grilled on a screen over charcoal, but most Japanese homes don't have the space for an outdoor grill. So it's usually done on a frying pan glazed with soy sauce or miso. I like to take mine up a notch by crisping the rice with butter. But the problem with adding oil is that it can make the rice fall apart. After a lot of experimentation, I found an easy hack that not only helps the rice stick together, it also gets the exterior ridiculously crisp. Let's start with a look at our ingredients. I'm using 2 tablespoons of Japanese soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of potato starch, 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, and 1 tablespoon of butter. We're also gonna need 1 rice cooker cup or 3/4 of a US cup of Japanese short grain rice. I'll add links to detailed instructions for making rice in the description below, but here's a quick recap. If you have a rice cooker, just measure out 1 rice cooker cup of rice into a bowl and wash it until the water runs mostly clear. If you don't have a rice cooker, just wash the rice in a sieve until the runoff looks like this. Then you can fill the rice cooker bowl up to the 1 cup marker with water. Put the bowl in your rice cooker and start it. If you're doing it on the stovetop, add the rice to a tall pot and then measure in 1 US cup of water. Cover the pot with a tight-fitting lid and then bring this to a boil over high heat. Once it's boiling, turn the heat down to low and set a timer for 13 minutes. When the timer is up, turn off the heat and let it steam for another 15 minutes without opening the lid. Whether you've made it on the stove or in a rice cooker, you should have a pot of freshly cooked rice with shiny grains like this. Okay, let's start by seasoning our rice. I'm gonna drizzle the soy sauce evenly over the rice. Then I'm gonna take my spatula and get it wet so the rice doesn't stick to it. Now I'm gonna mix the rice together with the soy sauce. You wanna use a folding and cutting motion like this. The idea is to separate the clumps of rice so the soy sauce is able to coat each grain evenly. When you're mixing it, be sure to use a light touch so you don't mash up the grains of rice. Keep repeating this folding and cutting motion until the soy sauce is evenly distributed and the rice is uniform in color. I've used soy sauce to season the rice today, but this works with other sauces like chuno sauce, ketchup, or even miso, so have fun experimenting with the seasonings. Once the rice is looking like this, I'm gonna flatten off the top so you have an even layer of rice. Then I'm gonna use a spatula to divide the rice into thirds. This ensures that you end up with 3 onigiri that are roughly the same size. If you cook double the amount of rice, you'll want to divide this into 6 segments instead. To shape the onigiri, I'm using a triangle mold today, so I'm gonna start off by getting it wet so the rice doesn't stick to it. If you don't have one, go watch my onigiri video to see how to shape them with your hands. Now I'm gonna scoop a third of the seasoned rice into each cup. The goal here is to make sure you get the same amount of rice into each side, so if it's looking a little uneven, feel free to redistribute the rice to even it out. Then I'm gonna fit the lid to the mold and press it down to shape the onigiri. Normally when you make onigiri, you want to apply as little pressure as possible so the rice balls end up nice and fluffy. But for yaki onigiri, it's important to give it a good squeeze so they don't fall apart in the pan. Once the rice is pressed firmly together, turn the onigiri out onto a parchment paper lined tray. Then you just want to repeat the process to make the third onigiri. Now here's my trick for extra crispy yaki onigiri. I dust the top and bottom surfaces of the rice with a very thin layer of potato starch using a tea strainer like this. This not only gives it a long-lasting crisp crust, it also helps prevent the onigiri from falling apart in the pan. The layer of starch should look more like a light frost than a heavy snow, so if you get too much onto the rice ball, use a pastry brush to dust off the excess. Then you want to flip the onigiri over and dust the other side. It's okay if you get a little on the sides, but try not to get too much onto them or you're gonna end up with white powder on your finished onigiri. Okay, it's time to turn our onigiri into yaki onigiri, so I'm gonna drizzle about half of the oil into a non-stick frying pan over medium-low heat. Then I'm gonna gently set the rice balls into the oil. Once they're in the pan, move them around a bit to make sure they have enough oil underneath. Now you just need to let these fry undisturbed until they're golden brown on one side. It takes me about 7 minutes on my stove to get a golden brown crust, but the timing on your stove may vary. Okay, these are looking perfect, so let's go ahead and flip them over. Then I'm gonna add another drizzle of oil around each onigiri. You may not need to add all of it. I'm gonna move them around to make sure the bottom surface is well coated with oil. And then we're gonna let these fry until the second side is nice and crisp. I still love a good yaki onigiri that's been grilled over charcoal, but it won't get nearly as crispy as using this method, which is why I love doing it this way. Okay, these are looking perfect now, so let's go ahead and spread a little butter on each one. The pan is super hot at this point, so if you add the butter to the pan, it's gonna burn almost instantly, which is why I prefer spreading it directly onto the tops of each onigiri. Once you've done one side, flip them over and butter up the second side. Now I'm just gonna flip the rice balls up onto their sides and roll them all the way around. This gets rid of any uncooked potato starch on the sides of the onigiri. Okay, these are looking perfect, and I can't even begin to describe how good they smell. So let's plate them up. I like serving my yaki onigiri wrapped in perilla leaves, so I'm gonna start by putting down a few leaves, but you can use nori as well. Then I'm gonna set the grilled rice balls on top of each leaf. Let's garnish the plate with some pickles, and our yaki onigiri are done. Although it's all one rice ball, the ultra crispy outer layer gives these yaki onigiri a texture that's like biting into a rice cracker sandwich stuffed with tender, fluffy rice in the center. But it's not just a texture thing. The outer layers undergo Maillard browning, which gives the rice and soy sauce a toasty flavor, while the butter melds with these simple ingredients to turn them into something that's mind-blowingly good. I've kept my yaki onigiri pretty basic this time, but these are great stuffed with mentaiko, katsuobushi, or even cheese. So I hope you'll give this a try. If you enjoyed this video, you can help me out by giving this a big thumbs up and by sharing it with all your friends that love Japanese food. This video was made possible by viewers like you. So if you're learning something new from my recipes, I hope you'll consider clicking the link up here to join the crew and help support my future videos. Well, I'm gonna go have these rice balls while they're still crisp, but I'll catch you in the next one.